especially when I was in Montreal and starting to grow up, let's say, and take on serious responsibilities, that every time I had done something or said something that I regretted, it was when I was drinking. And I thought at one point, maybe I don't want to live a life where I'm continually or even sporadically wishing that I hadn't said or done something. I quit drinking when I was 27. You know, I mean, Northern Albertan culture was pretty damn hard drinking culture, like most northern places. And a number of my friends ended up alcoholic, you know, and well, all the people that I was in high school with and in college with were extremely hard drinkers. And I drank quite a lot till I was 27. And then I found that I couldn't. Well, first of all, my life was taking a pretty professional turn. And second, I found that there was no bloody way I could write seriously and think seriously on an ongoing basis if I was hungover. So, and I got married and I was going to have kids, and I thought, yeah, enough of this. And so I had a bit of, I thought when I was 50 that I might be able to drink again socially. And I toyed with it for about a year and found out that I was probably just as stupid at 50 as I had been at like 25, and decided to dispense with that too, which was definitely, you know, I've watched too, as I've gone around the world, I've met very, very many people in many, many social occasions. And because I don't drink anything at all now, if I go out and watch people drinking, it makes everybody stupid and fuzzy-minded. And, you know, the problem is when you're drinking, you think you're cool, but, you know, you have those same delusions that Homer Simpson's friend Barney had when he was drinking, that you're this kind of, you know, elegant and sophisticated comedian. And, you know, the other thing I think that happened too is I started drinking when I was pretty young, 14, you know, and I had a certain degree of social anxiety. I mean, I'm very extroverted, but, well, I think everybody has a certain degree of social anxiety when they're like 14, because like, what the hell do you know, and that alcohol, because it enhances sociability and also suppresses anxiety, is a good social anxiety medication. But the problem is you don't learn how to conduct yourself as a sober individual in social circumstances. And you learn very rapidly to rely on the alcohol, not only as a social lubricant, but as the basis of your social behavior. And I would say, you know, to young people who are watching, listening, that's a stupid plan. You should learn how to be in a social group with others when you're sober, so that you bloody well know how to do it, especially if you're planning to do anything even vaguely serious and responsible with your life, which is, you know, probably something you should be doing. Yeah, well, I found that social occasions were somewhat awkward, and also, yeah, I would say also that I didn't exactly know what to do without that false camaraderie that alcohol produces, and that inflation of confidence and extroversion as well. Yeah, not a wise developmental strategy, all things considered. When I lived in Montreal, there was this kid that lived down the street. We lived in poor areas in Montreal. And there was this kid that lived down the street, one of the places we live, who was the son of a single mother. She was about 5'4", and he was about 6 feet tall, and he was 14. You know, and he was out tromping around the streets in Montreal causing trouble. And we used to hear his mother. We didn't know them, but we used to hear them, you know, fighting in the hallway, for example. And like, what the hell could she do about it? You know, he was 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
You know, short of telling him to get the hell out and then potentially enforcing that with the police, he had her cornered, you know, for all intents and purposes, especially when he had his little gang of friends. You know, his mother wasn't going to be able to do a damn thing. And so, you know, it might well be that when you are around 12 and you're a boy, especially if you're, you know, temperamentally inclined to some degree to be challenging, that's exactly the right time for you to have a father who can step on you around. I know that there's some evidence among elephants, for example, that the older males socialize the younger males, and that when human wildlife curators have attempted to reformulate elephant societies, which are extraordinarily complex, the young males rampage around like mad unless there are older males to keep them in line.
There's a very good example of that. You know, culling of elephants is an unfortunate necessity. If you put elephants into the Kruger National Park without the saber-toothed cats that used to hunt them, they breed like crazy. They breed at a rate of about 12% per year. So then they destroy all the trees, and you know, so then the WWF comes along and says, we'll pay you not to shoot your elephants, which is to say, we'll pay you to let all your trees get destroyed.
Right.
So of course they do have to shoot the elephants, and it's a terrible thing. And so they've tried different mechanisms, and the one way that they used to do it was to go in and take out the oldest members, right, the dominant males and so on. But what happened as a result of that is they left young, uncultured elephants.
Yeah.
And those elephants would rampage, they would attack cars, they'd never been taught. And,
Right.
and so I think it is a really good example of the wisdom of elders, even in the animal kingdom, being very important to the
Well,
development.
especially in those complex, I mean, elephants are unbelievably intelligent.
Yeah.
And they have a prehensile trunk, right? And anything that has a prehensile attachment tends to be extraordinarily intelligent, like octopuses, for example, which only live 3 years, something like that, but appear to be at least as smart as dogs, which is, you know, pretty damn smart. And with that increased intelligence comes a necessity for deeper socialization, and then the necessity for something like a continuous historical tradition.
Yeah.
Because with all that additional brain expanse, that environmental specific programming that's associated with socialization starts to become increasingly crucial. You see that too, even if you have a particularly smart breed of dog. Like, it's great to have a smart dog, but a smart untrained dog is a really bad dog.
Yeah.
A stupid untrained dog just lays there like a stupid dog, and you know, who cares? But
I always say, especially if you have a smart breed border collies, that's what you have them. If you're not training them, they're training you.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing about a dog.
They're training
like that,
you.
is you have to be smarter than the dog, and that's not always that easy. Yeah. Well, that's also the case if you have a particularly pushy child, and they can be socialized very well, but